Don't you think it's going to be some hybrid leaders that lead the way that are willing to step into those worlds?
I do.
You think you're one of those guys?
Oh, I don't know. I try to be a voice. It's funny if you see me speak in one setting. If I speak to a traditional setting, I bring a different message than I speak to a contemporary setting. Traditional church people who go to when I'm speaking in a contemporary setting, they say that's not what he said to us. Because I think ultimately we need some different messages right now, and I think we can be bold about that. I think we're in a crisis situation in evangelicalism, and the answer is more gospel, more biblical fidelity, more cultural engagement. It's not an either or, it's a both and.
Yeah, and I think Galatians 2:7 backs you up. Paul had a gospel for the uncircumcised. Peter had the gospel for the circumcised. And so I think that's right. Okay, going back to your message.
Yeah.
What, you talked about doubt. You talked about Thomas.
Yeah, pushing through doubt to faith. Yeah.
Okay, what makes you doubt?
Yeah. For me, tragedy makes me doubt. When my sister died, I don't get that. And at the end of the day, when I get to heaven, I got a list of questions to ask God. God has not answered all of my questions. He's given me all of himself. And there's a difference between the two. I got questions. God, why did my sister die? God, why do pelicans' knees go backwards? I mean, they're just weird things, and they're not on the same level. But it's just, those things. I mean, how do you rectify? How do you look at the world and say, could it be less evil and less hurtful? I mean, it's the whole question of theodicy. Where do these things come from? So I just think Christians should wrestle with that. I think the trite answers just don't work. You can turn on TBN and watch that little, that French house they have with all the gold and the thrones and all that kind of stuff. And I got to tell you, the gospel that I hear out of there is just not a real gospel. What I'm hearing is everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be, don't worry. And I watch it on TV all the time. That's not the world I live in. I live in a world where children get sick and die. I live in a world where good people get into fights and break relationships and can't seem to reconcile. I live in a world that's fallen and depraved, and Jesus comes into that world, and he doesn't tell me I'm going to make it all better, but he does say, I'm going to change you. I'm going to change the world, and one day it's all going to be reconciled to me. Colossians, he's reconciling the whole world to himself. But I'm ready for one day now, and it's hard sometimes when that becomes personal. And we, just in last week with some of the things I shared earlier.
Yeah. It's good stuff. We good? Ed Stetzer.
Right. Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Good to see you. Appreciate you. Is that good?
Heck, keep it